Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sharia Away Read Aloud container. This container takes place every Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. Louisiana time, and we basically just gather and use this space to read the chapter that will be discussed for the next exegesis out loud. Um, I will be taking the next 2 weeks off, so I am hoping that the next time we hold space for a book club, it will be to discuss this chapter, which is chapter 6, the chapter called Rhythm, in the section titled The Mysticism of Sound. And so I'll begin, and then, yeah, I will be happy to pass it off once I'm through reading. Motion is the significance of life, and the law of motion is rhythm. Rhythm is life disguised in motion, and in every guise, it seems to attract the attention of people, from a child who is pleased with the moving of a rattle and is soothed by the swing of its cradle, to a grown person whose every game, sport, and enjoyment has rhythm disguised in it in some way or another. Whether it's a game of tennis, cricket, or golf, as well as boxing and wrestling. Again, in the intellectual recreation of people, both poetry and music, vocal or instrumental, have rhythm as their very spirit and life. There is a saying in Sanskrit that tone is the mother of nature, but that rhythm is its father. An infant, once given the habit of a regular time for its food, demands it at that time, although it has no idea of time. This is accounted for by the fact that the very nature of life is rhythm. The infant begins its life on earth by moving its arms and legs, thus showing the rhythm of its nature and illustrating the philosophy that teaches that rhythm is the sign of life. The inclination to dance shown by every person illustrates also that innate nature of beauty that chooses rhythm for its expression. Rhythm produces an ecstasy that is inexplicable and incomparable with any source of intoxication. This is why the dance has been the most fascinating pastime of all people, both civilized and shielding savage, and has delighted alike saint and sinner. The races that show a tendency for strongly accentuated rhythm must be vigorous by nature. Ragtime has come from African Americans, and the syncopation is the secret of its charm and is the natural expression of their racial rhythm. Its rhythm arouses a kind of life among performers and audience alike, and it is the love of this life that has given such popularity to the jazz band. The dances among wild tribes in different parts of the world showcase a most pronounced rhythm, which proves that rhythm is not a culture but natural. Among Europeans, the Spanish, Poles, Hungarians, and Russians show the greatest tendency toward rhythm. The secret of the success of the Russian ballet and the Spanish dance lies in their exquisite rhythm. And I will pass it off now.
I think this text that I'm reading is different because the next paragraph for me says there is a tradition in Islam. Is that what it says for you?
That is the one, two, three, four, fifth paragraph after the one I'm reading. So, shall I read till then?
Yeah, if you don't mind, sorry.
Sure, no problem. Um, okay. Maybe we should also think about getting another PDF. So I'll keep
Mhm,
that in mind. Thank you.
mhm.
I don't know why I just muted. Okay. Okay. Among the Asiatic races, the music of the Mongolians is chiefly based on rhythm, it being more pronounced than melody in their music. In Turkish and Persian music, rhythm is also pronounced. And among the Arabs, the variety of rhythm is vast. In India, however, the culture of rhythm has reached perfection. An expert musician in India improve, improvises a melody, keeping the same time throughout the whole improvisation. In order to become a master musician in India, one must master thoroughly not only raga, but the scale, but also tala, the rhythm. Indians as a race are naturally inclined to rhythm. Their dance, Tandeva Nirati, the dance of the South, is an expression of rhythm through movement. In the Hindu science of music, there are 5 different rhythms that are generally derived from the study of nature. 1. Chatura, the rhythm of the 4 beats that was invented by the Devas, divine people. 2. Tisra, the rhythm of 3 beats invented by the Rishis, saints. 3. Kanda, the rhythm of 5 beats invented by the Rakshasas. 4. The Misra, the rhythm of the 7 beats invented by the people. 5. Sankriyan, the rhythm of the 9 beats invented by the commercial class. Mahadeva, the great lord of the yogis, was the dancer of the Tandeva Nirutya, and his consort Pravati danced the Lasya Nrutya. The traditions of the Hindus have as a most sacred record the mystic I'm sorry, the traditions of the Hindus have as a most sacred record of the mystical legend of their Lord Sri Krishna dancing with the gopis. The story relates how Krishna, the charming youthful lord of the Hindus, was moving among the dwelling of the cowherds, and every maiden, attracted by his beauty and charm, asked him to dance with her on the night of the full moon. On the night of the full moon, there assembled 1,600 gopis, and the miracle of Krishna was performed when he appeared as a separate Krishna to each gopi, and all of them danced with their beloved Lord at one and the same time.
Okay. There is a tradition in Islam where music, dancing, and all amusements and light occupations are strictly prohibited. That on one occasion, it being a holiday, the Prophet called his wife Aisha to look at the dance and listen to the music of some street musicians. In the meantime, his great caliph happened to come by and was shocked at seeing the Prophet, who had prohibited such things, himself permitting music in front of his house. When he stopped the music of the street players, pointing out to them that this was the house of the Prophet Muhammad requested that they might continue, saying that it was a holiday and there is no heart that does not move with the motion of rhythm. In the traditions of the Sufis, raqs, the sacred dance of spiritual ecstasy, which even now is prevalent among the Sufis of the East, is traced to the time when contemplation of the Creator impressed the wonderful reality of his vision so deeply on the heart of Jalal-ud-Din Rumi that he became entirely absorbed in the whole and single immanence of nature, and took a rhythmic turn which caused the skirt of his garment to form a circle, and the movements of his hands and neck made a circle. It is the memory of this movement of vision which is celebrated in the dance of dervishes. Even in the lower creation, among beasts and birds, their joy is always expressed in dance. A bird like the peacock, when conscious of his beauty and the beauty of the forest around him, expresses his joy in dance. Dance arouses passion and emotion in all living creatures. In the East, and especially in India, where the life of the people for centuries has been based on psychological principles, in the royal processions or at darbars, the beating of the drums is taken as the means of making an impression of kingly grandeur upon the minds of people. And the same beating of drums takes place at wedding ceremonies and at the services in the temples. I'll pass it off.
Sufis, in order to awaken in people that emotional nature that is generally asleep, have a rhythmic practice that sets the whole mechanism of of body and mind in rhythm. There exists in all people, either consciously or unconsciously, a tendency towards rhythm. Among European nations, the expressions of pleasure is shown by clapping of the hands. A fair that is so silly. A farewell sign is made by the waving of the hand, which makes rhythm. All labor and toil, however hard and difficult, is made easy by the power of rhythm in some way or other. That this idea opens to the thinker a still deeper scope for the study of life. Rhythm in every guise, be it called game, play, amusement, poetry, music, or dance, is the very nature of people's whole constitution. When the entire mechanism of their body is working in a rhythm, the beat of the pulse, of the heart, of the head, of the circulation of blood, hunger, and thirst all show rhythm, and it is the breaking of rhythm that is called dis-ease. When the child is crying and the mother does not know what ails it, she holds it in her arms and pats it on the back. This sets the circulation of the blood, the pulsations, and the whole mechanism of the body in rhythm. In other words, sets the body in order and soothes the child. The nursery rhyme pat a cake, which is known all over the world in some form or other, cures a child of fretfulness by setting its whole being in rhythm. I'll pass it off.
Therefore, physicians depend more upon the examination of the pulse than on anything else in discovering the true nature of disease, together with the examination of the beat of the heart and the movement of the lungs in the chest and back. Rhythm plays a most important part not only in the body, but in the mind also. The change from joy to sorrow, the rise and fall of thoughts, and the whole working of the mind show rhythm, and all confusion and despair seem to be accounted for by the lack of rhythm in mind. In ancient times, healers in the East, and especially those in India, when healing a patient of any complaint of a psychological character, known either as an obsession or an effect of magic, excited the emotional nature of the patient by the emphatic rhythm of their drum and song, at the same time making the patient swing his head up and down in time to the music. This aroused his emotions and prompted him to tell the secret of his complaint, which hitherto had been hidden under the cover of fear, convention, and forms of society. The patient confessed everything to the healer under the spell produced by the rhythm, and the healer was enabled to discover the source of the malady. The words thoughtful and thoughtless signify a rhythmic or unrhythmic state of mind, and balance, which is the only upholding power in life, is kept by rhythm. Respiration, which keeps mind and body connected and which links the mind and soul, consists in keeping rhythm every moment when awake or asleep. Inhaling and exhaling may be likened to the moving and swinging of the pendulum of a clock. As all strength and energy is maintained by breath, and as breath is the sign of life and its nature is to flow alternatively on the right and left side, all this proves rhythm to be one of the greatest significance. As rhythm is innate in people and maintains their health, so upon rhythm depend all a person's affairs in life, their success, their failure, their right acts and their wrong acts. All are accounted for in some way or other by a change of rhythm. I'll pass it off.
The instinct of flying in the bird is a rhythmic movement of the wings, and it is the same tendency of rhythmic contraction that makes the fish swim and the snake glide. A keen observation shows that the rhythm of the whole universe is a single mechanism working by the law of rhythm. The rise and fall of the waves, and the ebb and flow of the tide, the waxing and waning of the moon, the sunrise and the sunset, the change of the seasons, or wait, I'm sorry, the change of the seasons, the moving of the earth and of the planets, the whole cosmic system and the constitution of the entire universe are working under the law of rhythm. Cycles of rhythm, with major and minor cycles interpolating, upholding the whole of creation in their swing. This demonstrates the origin of manifestation. Motion has sprung from the still life, and every motion must necessarily result in a dual aspect. As soon as you move a stick, the single movement will make 2 points, the one where it starts and the other one where it ends, the one strong and the other weak. To these, a music conductor will count 1, 2, 1, 2, a strong accent and a weak accent, one motion with 2 effects, each distinct and different from the other. It is this mystery that lies hidden under the dual aspects in all phases and forms of life, and the reason, cause, and significance of all life is found in rhythm. There's a footnote that says, for a further explanation of the law of rhythm, see Philosophy, Psychology, Mysticism, Volume 11, The Sufi Message of Hazrat Inayat Khan. There is a psychological conception of rhythms used in poetry or music that may be explained thus. Every rhythm has a certain effect, not only upon the physical and mental bodies of the poet or on them for whom the poetry is written, on the musician or on to whom the song is sung, but even upon their life's affairs. The belief is that it can bring good or bad luck to the poet and the musician, or to the one who listens. The idea is that rhythm is hidden under the root of every activity, constructive or deconstructive, so that on the rhythm of every activity, the fate of the affair depends. Expressions used in everyday speech, such as "they're too late," or "it was done too soon," or that was done in time, all show the influence of rhythm upon the affair. Events such as the sinking of the Titanic and the amazing changes that took place during the late war, the First World War, if keenly studied, can be accounted for by the rhythm working in both mental and physical spheres. I'll pass it off.
There is a superstition among Indians that when somebody yawns, someone else who is present must either snap his fingers or clap his hands. The hidden meaning of this is that a yawn is significant of the slowing down of the rhythm, and that by clicking the fingers or clapping the hands, one is supposed to bring the rhythm back to its original state. A Muslim child, when reading the Quran, moves their head backwards and forwards. This is popularly supposed to be a respectful bow to the sacred words that they read, but psychologically speaking, it helps them to memorize the Quran by regulating the circulation and making the brain a receptive vehicle, as when filling a bottle, one sometimes must shake it in order to make more room. This also may be seen when a person nods the head in accepting an idea or shakes it when they cannot take it in. The mechanism of every kind of machinery that works by itself is arranged and kept going by the law of rhythm, and this is another proof of the fact that the whole mechanism of the universe is based on the law of rhythm.
Thank you all so much for being here. Anna and Lexi, I appreciate you guys for pulling up and being here live, and Anna for reading. Um, Thank you all who tuned in asynchronously. Again, there will be an update on social media. Check out the Room Radio on Twitter and Threads and at Radio on Mastodon. Um, I'm like, well, okay, what are all our handles? Check out the updates on when the exegesis and the breakdown of this chapter will be scheduled for. And again, peace. Take care.